Welcome to Look Behind the Look, the new podcast that examines iconic looks in film, television, music, and fashion history. I'm your host, Tiffany Bartok. Hello, and thank you for joining us for episode 22. 22, oh my God. It's Oscars week, of course, and I don't know about you, but it's been a real weird one for sure. This race has been more like a marathon that's gone on forever and ever and ever. It seems endless, but one surefire winner that I foresee is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, and finally, Best Makeup and Hair Design, which we're going to talk about today. Now, this is a historic nomination because although this category was created 40 years ago, Jamika Wilson and my guest Mia Neal are the first Black women to ever be nominated in the hair and makeup category. Mia is a veteran of New York stage productions, films, and movies. She's been based in New York since graduating from the Juilliard School of Professional Internship for Wigs and Makeup. She graduated from Horace Mann High School, and then she attended Merrillville Beauty College, and she moved on to Columbia College in Chicago. Then she went back to Jackson State University. You knew that a Mac counter had to play a part in this story somehow, and it does, because she was working there in Jackson when she talked to a friend who encouraged her to apply to the Juilliard School of Professional Internship for Wigs and Makeup. That led to Broadway, which led to films, and now here we are, anxiously awaiting to see what happens for Mia on Oscar night, Sunday night. Mia, thank you so much for joining me today on Look Behind the Look. I am huge congratulations are in order. You are in the middle of a whirlwind right now. You have been nominated for an Oscar, and it's historic. And I'm so impressed and just happy about all of the success that you've been experiencing. And I know that you are in a whirlwind. So what has it been like? Has it just been unexpected?
Thank you. First of all, thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been, I guess the part about it is that it's so unexpected. Like when you work behind the scenes, it just doesn't cross your mind that you're working on a project that's about to do something. There's nothing that can predict where the project is going to go. So I don't think that anyone on it knew that this is where we were all headed, so that part is like surprising. And I think it makes you, just have gratitude on a whole nother level, right?
Yes.
Like,
but this is the second project that you've been involved in that's been like so huge. I mean, Uncut Gems was my favorite movie of the year, just 1 year before. So you must be able to pick the project. How did you come to this project, or how do you pick your projects?
Well, so Ann Roth, work with a lot, brought me onto this project.
Okay.
So with George C. Wolfe. And and so this particular project with Denzel producing, with, Viola, Chadwick, I don't know why it didn't cross my mind. That I certainly wouldn't have thought myself, but definitely them, right? Like, as we watched their performances, we were like, whoa, this is spectacular. And the transformation on Viola and how far she was willing to go with it, and watching her build that character, even in the fittings, that was something. So I definitely knew that we were working on something special, but I didn't know where it was going to go.
Okay. Well, it's a testament to your intentions, when you're doing it to just get an award, it never works, when you're doing it for the work's sake, it
right.
rewarded. Yeah, absolutely. So it does make sense. And it's been amazing to see.
I feel like Anne is really special in that way. Anne brings out a lot in people. George does the same thing.
Well, her work in this is amazing.
And she is a spectacular costume designer and just human being.
Now, how do you two work together? What's that process like?
It's great. And really, she gives you the, she has her ideas and she's like, this is, which are always spectacular. Like they're always right on point. Even the notes that she gives, they're always like right on point. Um, but Anne does this thing where she works a character all the way through. Like all the pieces of the puzzle have to be put together. And from working with her so much, I find myself doing the same thing. So it's like you have to fill in the blanks because, you know, you can't do something because you think it's cute or it's pretty or that's what they were doing during that time. Like those aren't really reasons to you have to figure out what was going on with this character and why they chose to do this, right? Like how much time did they have to get dressed in the morning? Did they do their hair themselves? Did someone else do it? What products did they have access to during that time period? You know, psychologically, like where is this person? You know, are they, you know, what class are they in? You know, so all of this sort of adds to the story and helps you find like that sweet spot of like, this is where this person, you know, this is it. And I feel like if you don't do that, it makes the story fake. If you can explain every detail on why you did it, it makes sense. If you can't explain that, the story will feel fake to the audience. And if everyone's not telling the same story, that's another thing that throws people off, right? So I have to tell the same story that Anne is telling. I have to tell the same story that makeup is telling. Like if we don't have those conversations and we're not all on the same page about this person, nothing will read as flowing to the audience. They won't know what's off about it, but something will feel like, you know,
100%. I can see, I know that feeling when you're like, when the hair doesn't move or, you know,
absolutely.
Yes. And you realize, oh, this is just a costume. I always call it school play. Like,
exactly.
Oh, school play. Okay.
Totally. If I'm seeing this person as, you know, very poor and, you know, damaged and not, you know, I'm not going to give her, you know, the figure wave all the way, you know, and the makeup artist shouldn't give her the red lip and the pencil brow and, you know, and so, but let's say I give her the rundown, you know, hairstyle and then the makeup artist goes in and gives her a full face of, you know, and it's like, and sometimes I see that on screen or sometimes people do period pieces, right? And everyone is stylized, right? There are no imperfections. And I'm thinking, well, what time period did that ever happen?
Right.
And what time period, you know, was everyone's hair done? You know, it just didn't happen. So some people are just a mess, you know, and some people, you know, some people are, you know, they do their own hair and they think it looks all right, but they don't have the skill to pull it off. And so it doesn't look all right, you know, but so that part of the story has to be told in these films, you know, or it looks fake. You know,
I was going to ask you about something I saw in one of the articles, and I can't remember the source, but you were talking about her wig being horsehair and how you were saying you see why she may have picked a horse so it would have the durability. Did you, in fact, use a horsehair wig? Was that what I was reading?
Did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I make wigs. So I sent off, Anne Roth discovered in her research that Ma Rainey wore horsehair wigs. So because there were only like a few photos of her, I could only find who I was doing the research.
Really?
Yeah. And so a lot of it, we just had to go off of written, you know, things. So, excuse me. So once Anne discovered the horsehair, she was like, you know, you have got to get some horsehair. You've got to build it horsehair. Like we have to go that route. I'm like, great, let's do it. Anne always, you know, has a challenge, which is fantastic. So I sent off for the horsehair. When it arrived, it comes as like thick kind of stalk that you have to kind of.
I don't know that I can even picture it. I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, and so they kind of string it all the way down in different sections and hold it together. But they must have like stringed it while it was on the horse and then cut it off, and then maybe stored it somewhere for God knows how long because it was covered in manure and lice eggs. But nothing active though. Nothing active. Everything was, you know, but it still was like so caked on there that
oh man.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So and it wasn't something you could just like wash off and it just washes right off. It really didn't. So I was using commercial cleaners and things like that. And I couldn't get it off. I finally boiled some water, and I started using the boiling water to clean it. And that was really sort of the best method. So I did that. And crazy enough, because horsehair is nothing like human hair. It feels more like a wire brush.
Yeah.
Each hair is like, super thick, super coarse. It's, just, it feels more like you should be making clothing or a hat or something with it, not a wig.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the lace that I use to build the wigs, normally you can get 2 to 3 strands of hair, at least through the back of the wig, and you work your way up to single strand. But this was so thick, I could only get one in at a time without ripping the lace. So the entire wig is single strand.
How long did this take?
Like 60 to 80 hours, like somewhere in there. It was insane. And then
just you. Just you?
Oh, just me.
Okay.
Just me. Yeah. And I had to do it with gloves on. I had to cover everything in plastic because of the manure. And, yeah. So it was a process. It definitely was a process.
My God. So how much does that tell you about, did you share this information with Viola? Because I'm thinking you're discovering all that she had to go through. What is that like for a woman to have to go through this process herself to make herself presentable? That's fascinating for her character.
Right. So I'm assuming she purchased the wig, right? So I don't think
it was already done. Yeah.
It was already done. But we figured out why she probably wore the horsehair. So once I boiled the wig, it kind of softened a little bit, right? And I noticed that because it softened, because the whole time I was building it, I was thinking to myself, is this going to even hold curl? Will I be able to style this?
Yes, what will happen?
Because it's nothing like human hair. So I was thinking this whole process may be in vain because I may not be able to use it. I can't get it to curl. I can't get, So, but after I boiled it and it softened a little bit, I thought, okay, so that boiling water really helped it. So after I rolled the wig, I submerged it in boiling hot water until the water cooled, and then I baked it in the wig dryer. So after that, it really set, the curls set in. It took the set so well that we didn't have to reset that wig. So that let me know that the wig actually, the horsehair sort of acted as today's synthetic wigs, right?
Sure.
Where you sort of buy it in this hairstyle or it's set in a hairstyle and it stays that way. So you don't have to worry about the maintenance of that wig. And I assume, being a woman of color and traveling in the 1920s, who knows if you'll find a salon that will service you. So she needed to have her show sort of ready, always put everything in the box. When you make it to the next town, open up the box, put it on, go on stage.
Yes.
So I assume that was her reason behind the horsehair wig. It was like a synthetic wig for her.
How long did that wig that you made last? Did the wig that you created, the 60 to 80 hour wig, is that the one that you used?
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
thank God.
There's 2 wigs, right?
2.
And the horsehair wig is when she's performing.
In the tent?
Yes.
Okay.
The tent and on the stage in the very beginning. So it kind of, I think it switches over to her in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and then she's in the studio for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see her in 2 different performances on stage. During those performances, that's the horsehair wig. In the other rest of the time in the studio, she's in her self wig, as I will call it, the one with the finger waves.
Okay. All right. Wow. That I'm going to give you the Oscar just for that wig. Who do I call? That's amazing. Mind blowing.
Thank you.
And then how did you and the makeup art, was it Sergio as the makeup artist? Yeah.
Yes.
So we have Jamika Wilson and then Sergio Lopez were on your team. And how did the 3 of you work together?
Yeah. So Sergio and Jamika, they are Viola's personals, right?
Got it.
So we travel with Viola. Whatever Viola's working on, the 2 of them are
Got
there.
it.
And so it really was the best chemistry ever, the 3 of us.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was Jamika took perfect care of Viola and making sure that her hair was prepped really tight and taut underneath the wig. And she put the wigs on her every day and, you know, shaped them around her face, put the scarf on her, and maintained a continuity on set. So it was fantastic that way because I was still able to run a department, and Viola had her people that, you know, she trusts and who have her,
Right.
you know. And Sergio designed her makeup.
Okay, now that must have been crazy because, you know, she has to look fabulous on, you know, How to Get Away with Murder, and then not fabulous, but fabulous in her world, you know, for this film. And that must have been really challenging. How did the continuity for for that grease paint makeup work?
I know, right? Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Sergio, well, one, him and Viola have such a special relationship, you know, where the trust is there. So she, you know, entrusted him to really go there and gave him permission to really do it, you know.
What a
Viola's
challenge. What a
unique
challenge.
that way. Yeah. She's a really unique actress that way because she wants to remove herself completely and really embody that character.
Yes.
And so vanity and all of that is not a part of the performance, you know, like she is coming in, she wants to get my Rainey. She was not coming in to give my Rainey a couple ounces of Viola Davis, you know, and so in that sense, she sort of gave us all permission to totally go there, you know.
Oh, fantastic. Well worth it. Well worth it for sure. Can you tell me a little bit about Juilliard? Because a lot of our listeners are like the How You Got Here story. And it's, you know, so interesting to talk to people. We don't talk to a lot of people that work on movies. You know, it's mostly it's very different world than, you know, the photo shoots and whatnot. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, was that always your goal to do movies, or did you find yourself there? I know Juilliard was a big turning point for you.
It was. I never I didn't move here planning on doing a film. I was in school in Mississippi, and I met a woman, Christina Myers. We both worked at the Mac counter together. She had just been hired. She was awesome, and she had just finished the Juilliard internship program, and she had moved back to Mississippi. And so she was telling me about it, and I was like, you know, I would love to do something like that. And she's like, you should, you know. And after working together for a while, she's like, you really should think about that program. And she's like, I will write you a letter of recommendation. So, and she did. And I went there, interviewed, and got into the program. And Juilliard has a really good apprenticeship program, especially if you're finishing college and you're trying to find that sort of in between, like before I enter the workforce, or I'm not quite sure, especially when you deal with the arts and that sort of creative field. You know, it's not like you could just go to a firm and, you know, go into human resources and, you know, apply for this position.
Right.
You really have to have an in, you know, because, you know, the jobs start for a couple months, then they finish, and you go into this and that, you know. So it's like, how do I get into this field? And Juilliard is like really a good transitional place because they give the students a realistic view of what it's going to be like for them out in the workforce. Okay. So whether they're acting, whether they're in the drama field, whether they're in opera, whether they're in dance, it is exactly what the professional environment will be for them when they go out. So they have a full costume shop that builds the wardrobe for the students, you know, to fit them, even shoes sometimes, like handmade shoes. We would build wigs for them to fit them from scratch. And so a lot of the things that I learned at Juilliard and some of the things that they do there that I didn't learn because it was in different departments are sort of dying out things. Like it's a rarity, you know, that someone can build a form for an actor, you know, for a person to really build. So they build forms of the actors there. So it's something that the people who work in the costume shop get to learn. And that's sort of a dying thing now, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so they have a really good program and I highly recommend it. And it also is highly accredited. So when you finish, and people read that on there, they're like, oh, do you know so-and-so that did the program, and I hired that person and they were excellent, and that type of thing. So, I highly recommend it. So I went and I did the Juilliard internship program. I moved to New York with the goal of working on Broadway. I think by the time Christmas break rolled around, I had a little like part-time seasonal job on a Broadway show, 42nd Street was the name. And I loved it. And so, and then from there, it just kind of grew. I did some opera stuff, dance stuff.
Always wigs? Always
hair. Now,
Mm-hmm.
some of the like regional theaters and stuff, like they have you do both. A lot of times in theater, they will have you do hair and makeup. So you do a little bit of both.
Yeah, of course.
But most of the 798, union things, they don't allow you to do both because they see that as taking two jobs. So it's very split. You have to choose.
Yes. I love that. I'm not a big fan of being able to do both. I don't know, because I personally never could. So
right.
I'd always can you do makeup and hair and keep an eye on the costumes and you're all right, I see what's going on here, guys.
Changes.
Okay. And also babysit. I saw something that you were talking about, and that was about raising expectations for yourself. And is this the first time you're really reckoning with that, now that this recognition is for this high level? And I feel like, you've had high standards just judging from your past work and everything, but for yourself, I think you're finally seeing like, okay, I gotta raise the bar for myself. And really, what does that look like to you? I mean, how can you get any higher?
I know. It's like, I think that in terms of, I never saw this coming, and I think that part of it was just not allowing myself for whatever reasons in my head around, I don't know if it's, not wanting to be disappointed or not knowing how to make this happen, or, but I also feel like maybe most people who, normal folks, humble, whatever, are not like, I'm going for the Oscar.
Right.
So it also is something very normal about it. But I think that now it makes me want to explore other things in my mind that maybe I had not given myself enough credit to say, hey, maybe we could pull this off. Like I have some things in my head that I would like to do, but in my mind have always sort of been like, how would I, no one would want me to do that, or whatever. Like I would, my dream would be to open up a school that shows people how to build wigs and, design shows, and how to work in film and TV, how to read a call sheet, set etiquette, So it's like, that would be my dream, because there aren't really that many like real formal training things where you can do that. Like even when I went to Juilliard, they don't focus on the film and TV aspect of it. So a lot of times it really falls on just someone being kind enough to explain it to you, and then you being sort of detailed enough to pay attention to everything and pick up on it. And I don't think that a lot of people are patient in this business because everything is moving so quickly. So, that's why I say if you're lucky and you can get in and work under someone who understands that and remembers what it was like for them, then they'll be kind enough to sort of walk you through it. But if you don't meet that person, I mean, you could be blacklisted for showing up and just not knowing,
Exactly. And they'll never tell you. They'll just say, no, we can't have her because she forgot the cry stick. And then you never knew that that's what you forgot.
You didn't even know.
Yeah.
You didn't even know. Some people, I've had someone show up without a kit because they just didn't know.
They thought it would be there.
Yeah, because they had worked in theater.
Right.
And when you get to theater, it's already there.
Right.
And that's fine. But for me, I said, okay, no problem. Listen, so this is what you put the bag together and you can have it. But how many people would do that?
That's why you have to
I
open the school.
People who were kind enough to me to say, okay, you know what? These products won't fly on film. This is fine I had set my kid up like I was doing a Broadway show where the hair should not move.
Sure.
Aquanet in there, like,
where did you find it? I want some.
Exactly. I had my little Rainey and I have an Aquanet. I was like, don't you worry, this hair will not be moving today. And like, okay, and a woman, Jen Johnson, she did Gossip Girl and she's do Blake and all, and Jen was like, so just watch what I'm doing, You're a little heavy-handed right now, coming fresh off of Broadway, but she had worked on Broadway, and so she understood, and she, was like, "No, Mia," and I ended up working with Jen for years, and her aesthetic and like the products that she, like I picked up all of those things from her, because not that people can't figure it out or don't have the ability to, it's what you've had exposure to.
Exactly.
That's it. So I feel like the more information we can get out there, then the more people who really have the talent to pull it off, but just don't know, like that to me I would love to do that. So this whole thing has made me think, well, maybe I should start exploring some of these big, ideas in my head.
Absolutely. I mean, you to me just seem like you're ready to be that mentor for so many people, and it would be like the perfect thing for you, because you can still keep working and doing your amazing things. I wrote something down. I rewatched the movie, and then I was watching that little EPK on the on Netflix. Have you seen it? It's a behind the scenes of Ma Rainey's, and it comes on Netflix, sort of just like a behind the scenes. You should check it out. Like, does it say how I did my job? It's mainly George talking about Ma Rainey and stuff like that. And Viola said that even when you're at the top of the game, the theme of it for her was that even when you're at the top of the game and you reach the pinnacle of success, Ma Rainey did, at the end of the day, she was still fighting for her worth, right? And I wondered if you saw that as the theme as well, and how true that is in your life. And do you feel that you have to fight for your worth? And is it a struggle within yourself or to other people? Because I ask myself that.
Right.
Am I fighting with myself, or is it with other people? How do you come to terms with knowing your own worth and fighting for it?
Right. So I guess my own worth, like, I don't know what my worth is, I guess it's sort of, I wouldn't say forever changing, but I think that the more that I work, the more that I get out there, the more that I communicate with other people about, especially like what they're asking for and what they're, then I sort of, I go from there,
and say, what can I give?
Yeah. Like what, exactly. And as far as like fighting for things, for me, I don't have to, okay. If I don't want to do a project, I'm not going to do the project. If I feel like the project doesn't realize what I'm going to give or what I need to make this successful, I'm not going to do it. Right. And I'm not saying that I'm Mia, but I feel like
it doesn't come across like that at all.
Where you say, you know what, I'm not going to, now early on in my career, they could have said, listen, I'm going to need you to pass out these peanuts at the circus first. And then and I would have been right out there and it just wouldn't have even mattered. But now I'm like, okay, because what'll happen is you'll go on to something and you work on it and you're miserable and then you don't feel good about the end product, right?
Yes.
And that part is more important to me than just working.
And it disappoints everybody. Yeah.
Totally. There has to be like harmony and an in sync sort of thing
Yes.
where we're all really making something, right? And it's important to everybody there.
Yes.
That's what I love. You know, that's when I can like, my creative juices are flowing and I'm like, yes, and I'm thinking of new things. It has to go like that for me,
Mhm.
or I shut down and then I'm not creative at all, you know, and then I can't even do hair anymore.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I can't even put up a ponytail because I can't concentrate here because my entire creative self has left my body and doesn't want to be here.
Right.
So,
And you know
so
that
it's
about
hard-
yourself.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally know that about myself. So, so I definitely like to, it's not that I'm fighting to get what I want. I never feel like I have to fight for it. I feel like really good projects come and I know it's a good project because even when I go for that first meeting, there's a kinship there. There's like a
Yes.
feeling of, you know, and then I just know like, yeah, I want to work with them. Like the Safdi Brothers.
Tell
from
me
Uncut Gems.
how does that feel? Was that
I'm
nuts?
just like praying that they call me for another job at some point, right?
Me
Because
too.
they are.
I want you to work on all of them and then you come and tell
I
me
do
all
too.
about it.
Listen, yes, I want to work on. I want somebody to do a reality TV show while they make a movie. Okay, because I had lost track of all the details of everything, and I was like, they have no clue that this is the most interesting thing I have ever witnessed in my life.
I can imagine.
They're amazing.
Wow.
They're amazing
Are they
because
like one person? Like one?
they're definitely two different people.
Okay.
Two very important people doing two totally different things. But they really set the tone on their project. And you know, they're very detailed, they're very hands-on into all of it. They, you know, and they want it to be real, you know, they don't want any acting, don't want any fake, you know, none of that.
They can sniff it out.
Yeah, like it's got to have some dirt on it, like it's got to be gritty. It wants, you know, they want it, you know, we were doing a New York film, you know, Diamond District, like it needed to feel like that. And they, you know, so they cast people who are the people that they wrote about, you know. So they grabbed construction workers,
yes,
and brought them in for an audition that they just pulled off the street, you know, who've never been in a movie before. I think half of the people in the film had never been in a movie before, you know. And they're really good at, you know, collecting people. They're really good at like, you know, collecting these really like, where did you find this guy? Like, what is, you know, like, and they have a bunch of.
I can see you being like somebody sitting in your chair and you're like, you just want to know, where did you come from?
Yes.
Where did we find you? What's going on? They probably tell you how they want their hair done too. Probably they're like,
yes,
oh, it's a little
listen,
like this.
most of them came camera ready, you know. It was like because they were picked for that reason,
right.
You know. Yeah.
Oh man, that movie, I've seen it 95 times. I just loved it. But both of the movies had that raw energy and that, you know, it seems to me that that's your thing is you really contribute to that collaborative process of authenticity. And, you know, that is what's being rewarded because it's like nothing stands out. It's all part of, you know.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Thank
not
you.
separate.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I think that comes down to the chemistry of the people that are working together.
But that's what you're talking about when you talk about how you value yourself, you know, you feel valued. I feel you are putting that energy out, that you value your work. You're just putting the energy out. You're not even thinking about it. And then people recognize that and want you on their team, you know? And so that's interesting to think about, you know, if you just know, I feel like you just quietly know, you know, and that's powerful.
I feel like, and I think that's how the little groups are formed, you know? That's how the little groups are formed, where it's like they have this sort of chemistry and they think similarly and they're very detailed or not, or, you know what I mean? But this is the little pods that people sort of find, and they all kind of find each other and work, you know, and then they keep repeating kind of the same people because that energy is really fantastic.
Exactly.
Adam Sandler, his so that wasn't like his film thing, but I just worked with him not long ago on another film, and like his people, are so amazing.
Really?
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
It is like they're so kind, like everybody, like you kind of feel like you went back to high school a little bit, but they're all really super professional. But it's just like one of those, like Adam walks around with like a boom box, and he plays basketball always.
Oh,
like,
yes, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, and it's like, you just go, you just kind of hanging out with friends, and making an amazing movie. Like that's the feel.
That's
of
how
it.
you do it. Yes.
Yeah, but then he also is extremely detailed about the work, and very much so involved in how things look and all of that. And so he's super professional, like a whole nother level. And really, you would think he was just like a comedian.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no. He's like an artistic genius in that way. Like looking at the props and the set and the hair and the this and the that, like everything.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Very detailed like that. And that's awesome. That's the type of thing that I like when, I've worked on, sometimes TV and film is very different. So sometimes in TV, they don't value different departments. It's like, we're just making the show. We got to get it done. Like we got 10 months of this. We got, all these episodes. You got 2 directors coming in a week, and you got, so it's like, oh, and so there's a lot of things aren't, sometimes certain departments just hold no value. And 9 times out of 10, unless it's a special effects thing going on, then they'll take the makeup serious. But hair, you can forget about it. Like, it's just, no one wants to, and so when you work with directors and, number one on the call sheet actors who value your job and they know the importance of it, that really changes the whole feel of the project.
That feels good. Yeah, that feels good.
Express your ideas and they get it. You say, well, I don't think that this person would have done that. Can we try? And they're like, yeah, I didn't think, it's like, so.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't know. Really lucky that way. I'm telling you.
I don't know what happened to Adam's Oscar nomination. That was stupid. Yes, that was not popular around our house.
I'm still crying about it. Okay.
Right? Me too. Yeah. I agree. I think it should be a do-over for sure.
Yeah.
And then
I have to tell you, it's funny that you say that because everybody kept saying, you guys are going to get nominated for And I was not absorbing that because of that. I was like, no, because I was pretty sure Adam, I just had like, and when that didn't happen, so when people were telling me about my Rainey and the hair, like,
oh, you were like already like, no.
I was like, no, you can't predict. I was like, you can't predict that. Right. I was like, I'm not even going to hear that because even when other things started to happen, even when we made the short list, I was just like, I'm not.
Of course.
I'm not taking it in because you just never know. Like I thought Adam was a shoo-in.
Shoo-in. I know. I was so crazy about it. And everybody would say on Facebook, stop yelling at me because Adam did not get his nomination.
Yeah, right.
Tiffany, you're going to have to do something about this, like privately. Like, Tiffany, you're going to have to stop. All right. I'll never stop inside. And then you took your child to set with you, didn't you?
I did.
Ma Rainey.
Yeah. So what happened? We filmed it in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So we filmed it in Pittsburgh. So he was out there and the hotel was right down the street from the studio that we were filming at. It wasn't like a real studio. I'm not sure we'll call it a studio. So the studio that we filmed at, he was like right down the street. So at lunchtime, I would have him come down and we would have lunch together. So at least I would see him because if I worked really late, by the time I got in, he would sleep. I'm leaving, super early in the morning, that type of deal. So I would have him come and it was great. Everybody would look for James. Crafty would always have a huge bag of candy for him. The Teamsters were amazing. I have to say, like, Pittsburgh has the best Teamsters ever.
Oh God, yes, famous, right?
Listen, they were amazing.
Serious business.
Well, they were driving James around, and it was just, it was
That's
summer camp.
awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
It was nice.
Did he see Viola and get scared? My son probably would have been scared of
Yeah, no. He didn't get scared at all. He was like, hi, and it's funny because he didn't know who she was as Ma Rainey, because we had actually gone to the amusement park together because Viola had her daughter there. So we all, it was like a whole group of us, Jamika, Sergio, like all of us went to Taylor. We went to the amusement park there, and they, he played with them and that type of thing. And then when he saw her on set, he had no clue. I was like, we were just in the amusement park. But that was like, so telling transformation, right?
Right.
That you can see her like days before and then see her, and I don't know who this woman is. Like, I just don't know who she is. Like, hello, but I've never seen you before.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. And this is all before COVID, right? Yeah. So you were able to just be free and have fun.
This was the summer for us. We shot this 2019.
Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, well, Mia, I've had such an amazing time and learned so much talking to you. And I know that you have probably fittings to go to right now because you're on your next project already, right?
I am on my next project.
Yes. Can you say what it is, or is it private?
I wonder if I can. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble.
I hear you completely. I completely hear you. But when it comes out, we'll have you back on so you can tell us about all of that.
There you go.
And I am rooting for you so much for the Oscars. We're
every time somebody says Oscars, I get this like rush. Like,
can you believe? I know.
No, I can't. As soon as you said it, it started like right here in the back of my head, and it went right down and right through my shoulder. It's like this.
Oh my God. Are you going to get to go? Do you know? They're still figuring that out.
Yes. Yes. Oh. I know. Look, now I just got the chills. Yes. I know.
This is amazing. Oh
it's
my God.
Easy.
I am so happy for you. I am so happy for you and excited.
Thank you.
We'll be watching. I'm going to have probably I usually have a big Oscar blowout, but I don't know what's going to happen this year, but you'll hear us screaming.
Nice.
And I will talk to you next time. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, everybody. And I can't wait to see what happens for me on Sunday night. I'm so glad she's going to be able to attend in person. That's huge. And I'm really anxious to see all of the fashion and looks that are going to be arriving on the red carpet for the Oscars Sunday night. So let's talk about it on Instagram and Twitter and all of the good places. Next week, I'll be talking to you about Morag Ross's career. Now, this is going to be a great interview. It's about Mrs. America, which was a while ago. It was last year. And I don't know if you haven't seen it, please watch it before next week. That's your homework because it's incredible. And some people missed it, but it is not to be missed. The looks are incredible. We're going to break them down and we're going to talk about Morag's career. See you then. Look Behind the Look is a Vinyl Foot production, written by me, your host, Tiffany Bartok, produced by Jace Bartok, and produced and edited by Kelly Riley, with audio engineering by Nicole Tucker. If you're interested in learning more, find our video version on the YouTube channel Look Behind the Look podcast. There you can see rare photos and clips from our guests. And please follow us on Twitter at LookBehindPod and Instagram at LookBehindTheLook. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. And tell your friends and spread the word. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcatcher of your choice. Thanks for listening to Look Behind the Look.